Hi friends, it's Sarah, the owner and maker behind Multifarious Nature. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are a new viewer, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, a huge welcome back. I'm glad you guys are here for another episode. Hopefully you'll hear me okay. I'm trying to talk louder. I don't know what it is about my microphone or something, but it could just be I'm a little too soft-spoken for these things, but hopefully you can hear me okay. We're going to start with the one project I worked on this week. I only worked on one, but before we get into that, I'm going to talk about what I'm wearing. So this is my birch pullover. The pattern is by Andrea Mowry of Drea Renee Knits, and I absolutely loved it. This was so much fun to knit. It took me a little while because there was a little hiatus. I do still have my brace on. Don't worry, it's not broken that I'm aware of. I went and saw my physical therapist last Friday, and he's pretty convinced that I just superficially tore one of the muscles down here in my forearm. It's quite tender there, and so based off of his own research from checking it out, he's pretty convinced that's what it is. So I'm okay. It's just I have to be careful and not put pressure and allow my muscles to heal, which is hard when we have really nice weather. Not today. It's raining today. It's quite creepy. That's why my hair is like wild today. But it's definitely creepy and yuck outside today. It's raining, which is great for the flowers. I'm looking forward to that and the grass. So our little pasture that we planted for our lambs are going to get watered, which is excellent. But as far as anything else, that was a bit of a hiatus. Sorry, I just kind of got sidetracked. Anyway, long and short of it, arm is okay to my knowledge, but we're going on now the 2.5 weeks, and it could be 4 weeks at a minimum for healing. So just have to be patient. Because the past couple days, that's what I was getting at. It was really, really nice outside. It was 70 degrees yesterday, Fahrenheit, and I wanted to go roller skate so bad, but I didn't. We did yard work, which needed to be done anyway. All right. So as far as what I'm wearing, again, birch pullover. This is using old mill yarn. Is kind of a it's a really warm gray, and it's a merino non-superwash. So you can kind of see there's a halo on there. It's held double. It said the person who sold it, he said it's considered fingering weight, but I held it double, and that to me looks like fingering weight. I got gauge with that, and the sweater calls for fingering weight. It's a fisherman's rib sweater, which is so much fun to knit. If you've not ever done fisherman's rib, one, it's super comfortable. It's like brioche, basically. It's a tuck stitch, so it's so stretchy and not tight and snug fitting at all. It's extremely comfortable. You do see there's a little bit of pilling going on here, but you know, the nature of 100% merino. Merino is very soft, so it has a tendency to pill. Anyway, the length isn't bad. It's a little bit on the short side. Here, I'll show you. Bear with me. I hope you can hear me when I back you up. Okay, so this is the top of my jeans here, and so I've got long t-shirt, but this is the top of the jeans. When I have it pulled down, this is the top of the jeans. So, and I think I did knit it a little, just a little bit longer than what it's called for, I think. Or maybe I stuck to the pattern. I've been trying to stick to patterns. I don't know. I might have went a little bit rogue. But anyway, yeah, I really like it though. Otherwise, I think I would possibly make it a little bit longer, but it's not bad. The length isn't terrible. I would like to do another sweater, and like this half fisherman's rib, it was extremely addictive to knit this. It's really strange because it takes a while to get progress, but it's really addictive. So it's kind of the perfect marriage here, because even though it takes a while to get progress, you really enjoy making it. You really enjoy doing the stitches. So even though it takes longer, you really enjoy it. So you keep going, and it's not a slog. So that's kind of nice. So there's another sweater kind of similar to this, but this is a pullover, and I would love to make another pullover. I find this quite comfortable. I would like to do it where I don't have to hold the yarn double. Not that there's anything wrong with holding yarn double, but there's a tendency that if one of the strands of yarn gets snagged, like pulled, it gets all bunched up and weird, and there's more of a tendency for that to happen as a single strand and not the two strands that are held together. Does that make sense? So like one of the strands stays in place, but then one of the strands that's being held double gets pulled, and it gets really weird, and you gotta kind of finagle it to get it stretched back out, and it's not as easy as it sounds. So that's the one downside to holding yarn double that isn't, I don't know how to explain it, super toothy, where it kind of gets felted together. So this is merino, and I don't think merino has a tendency to felt. I'm sure if I put this through the laundry, it would get felted, but I haven't worn it enough. I haven't washed it enough for it to even really get there. I haven't had a lot of issues with it getting snagged, but when I was knitting it, that's actually when I was snagging. And like right here, it's kind of hard to tell, but it's kind of, I don't know if you can see that. There's kind of a line there. Now, that could be from my lifeline that I had in here prior, holding the stitches on my sleeve. That could be what that was from. And it's still just trying to relax, even though I blocked this. But I don't know. That's the one biggest pet peeve, I guess, about holding yarn double, is that can happen. So I would really like to use an actual fingering weight yarn to make another one of these. There's, like I said, there's another sweater she has. I think it's the Straya. I'm guessing. I guess the Straya cardigan. It's a cardigan, which I don't mind making a cardigan. I probably could use more cardigans in my life. I have a lot of little dresses that I like to wear, and to have another cardigan that I can wear. So I'm pretty sure it's called the Straya cardigan. It's by Andrea Mowry again, of Drea Renee Knits, and she designed it with multiple color striping, but I would really like to create a cardigan like that. It's the, again, fisherman's rib, and I would really like to do that in a solid color. I just think I'd get a lot more wear out of it. I think it's cute with the striping, but I just think I would get a lot more wear. And even though I love doing colorful knits here and there, I prefer to do my super colorful knits with shawls. I've done it on a sweater before, or a cardigan. I have a cardigan by Andrea Mowry, and it's, let's see, I think it's the Comfort Fade, or it's a fade cardigan. I cannot remember the name of it. This has been a couple years now, but I just don't wear it that much. I really don't get much wear out of it, and when you spend that much time on a piece, I want to be able to wear it, and I want to wear it a lot, and I want to wear it a lot. Like this feels like a sweatshirt to me, and I want that feeling when it comes to my hand knits. So I feel like if I make a cardigan like that, the Striped cardigan, I'm gonna want to do a solid. And I have a lot of really beautiful neutrals, like behind me. Can't really see this one very well because it's so dark. That I think is another finger. I think it's this. Sorry about that. I think it's the same weight as this one. It's just a darker gray. So I probably won't use that, even though I'd like to, just because I don't want to hold it double like this. That I just don't want to. The one up above it, though, I think is more of a true fingering weight. It just seems a little bit more of a fingering than the other. And that's a cream color, which I would love to have a cream cardigan. It makes me a little nervous because I feel like cream garments are almost like white garments. And maybe you're like me. I'm a bit clumsy when it comes to food and things like that, and beverages, especially beverages. I don't know what it is. I spill it on myself. And most of my woolens, it just kind of rolls off. No big deal. No problem. But I feel like if it's cream, this is a light, like taupe color, like a cream. I just feel like if I do that, it'll get stained, and it'll get stained in a way that it'll be very visible. And I want to wear it. Like, I just want to wear it and not have to think about it, because I like to wear my woolens and just not think about it. I just like to, like, I'll go out. Like, I just went and collected eggs wearing this today. I have my coat on because it's cold and rainy, but I like to actually use my clothes. That's kind of important to me. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but I would really like to make another piece. I'm convinced that I absolutely love Fisherman's Rib now. It's so much fun. It's more fun than brioche, because similar to brioche, but it's more fun than brioche because you don't have to do the yarn overs, which I feel like the yarn overs confuse things sometimes. I can see it now that I've done enough brioche, but for someone who hasn't, it's still a lot of fun, but it takes a lot more focus when you're knitting it. And this does too. Like, you have to look at what you're doing, but the knit one below it's not hard. So if you haven't taken on Fisherman's Rib, definitely recommend it. I think this would be a good beginner Fisherman's Rib pattern. This was the first Fisherman's Rib I've ever done. I have done brioche before, but again, that's a little different. So this is the first time I've ever done Fisherman's Rib. And the increases were very easy to understand. I would say don't let this be your very first sweater you've ever made, but if it's your first Fisherman's Rib sweater, I think it's pretty clear directions, really, really easy to follow. So definitely recommend this. All right, did I work anything else? I did. So, well, this was finished. This was finished like 3 weeks ago, and I forgot to show you guys. But now you saw it on me. So it's extremely comfortable. You can see the fit is nice. It fits amazing. So her fit directions were excellent. Very, very pleased with it. All right. I knit on other projects that I will talk about in the future, but I just can't talk about it quite yet, but I will soon. It's very exciting, but it's all good. All good stuff. Don't want anybody to be concerned. All right, so what I did work on a lot this week, because again, I just needed something relaxing that I didn't have to think about, and I can knit after dinner, and I can knit for the 5 minutes that I knit in the morning, and I could knit on my lunch breaks. And that is my half and half triangles wrap, a Pearl Soho. I am chugging along on this, you guys. So these are the stitches I have left. It's a free pattern. If you aren't familiar with it, it is free. And it's extremely addicting because it's so relaxing and it's so easy. So this is all I have left. Now I say all I have left, but this is probably a good couple more weeks worth of knitting that I still have to do on this. So, I mean, I probably get about this much done in a week. So unless I go crazy, I think this will probably take me another 3 weeks at least. But I'm totally fine with that. It's wonderful knitting it. So I did have some good progress, as you can see. So the way this works is you're knitting back and forth each triangle, and you pick up another stitch as you go. I'm doing the German short rows way of increasing, or it's not really increasing. I mean, it kind of is. It's increasing. It's increasing in its own way. And you're making this triangle. So this is my strawberry shortcake colorway that I'm currently working on. Super vibrant pink tonal. I love it. It's very girly. And then this is, and that's on my BFL nylon base, which is excellent for socks if you're looking for a really durable base. But you can see how it is a tonal, so it's not a solid. I love it. And then this is Kismet, which is another one of my colorways that I hand dye. And this is garter stitch, so you're just knitting back and forth on both sides. And it's speckled, so you've got some salmon going on in there, some little brown specks. There's actually even some little kind of a lavender color speckles in here. And yeah, it's just a beautiful neutral, but it has color in it, but it's neutral and it's really, really pretty. And I feel like this would make a beautiful sweater. This is on an alpaca base that I have, and I always call it my alpaca base. I just feel like it's important to note the alpaca because some people are sensitive to alpaca. So it's super soft, but it's super fine alpaca, but it's only 20%. And then 60% superwash merino and 20% nylon. So it's super soft, but it does have that alpaca in there. And if you're sensitive to alpaca, I did want to make sure that that is known. And that's kind of why I call it my alpaca base, even though it's primarily a merino. But there you go. So I think it's going to be really fun. It's huge. I did the bigger. I think it's bigger, not biggest. It is the biggest. There's two sizes. There's big and bigger. I think that's what they call it. This is the bigger. And so, just so you guys can get an idea here, all right, it calls for 3 skeins of each colorway. And like I said, this is what I've got left. Now I'm going to go back and forth, and it's going to be a lot of stitches, but this is what I've got left to do. And this is what I have left of my cake. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking, really? I'm going to need another skein? Like, doesn't seem like I'm going to need another skein. Now, remember, it's not just this stitches. It's all these stitches too. I'm mid-row, but all of these stitches that are pink currently have to be stitched. So, I know I am going to use this. But it makes me wonder how much of that 3rd skein I'm actually going to use of it. Because this is the 3rd skein of the other colorway that I used. I did use some of it. You know, I definitely did use some of it. But this is the biggest size, remember. So it makes me wonder how much, doing the smaller size, I'm going to use of that 3rd skein. The reason why I'm mentioning this is if you're someone who, now this of course has to do with your gauge, how tight you knit, but if you're someone debating, do I do the big size, do the bigger size, I just don't know. If you want to use as much of your colors as possible, it sounds like you're probably going to want to go with the biggest size. I know that seems like kind of almost a no-brainer, like I shouldn't even have to say that, but the reason why I'm saying that is because it seems like I'm hardly going to even break into that 3rd skein with the, I just lost my train of thought. like I'm hardly going to break into that skein, and I'm doing the biggest size. There we go. That's what I'm trying to say. And maybe I'm a tight knitter. I don't think I am. I don't think I'm terribly loose either. I guess I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. But I don't know. I just don't like having a lot left of a colorway if I'm trying to do a large project, especially if it calls for that much. I know Andrea Mowry does, and this is not Andrea Mowry though. I know she tends to add a certain percentage of kind of leeway with her amount of yardage that she requires for the pattern, just in case, like to kind of count for the way that you knit, you know, your gauge and everything and your tightness. But I don't know. I think that if you want to take on the half and half triangles wrap, I feel like you should just go for the biggest size. And now you don't have to use this as a shawl. I might. I'm not gonna say I'm not going to, but my goal actually is to use this as a little blanket. And I say little blanket, but this is actually bigger than the habitation throw that I made. So I made a habitation throw with my Advent 2 years ago, and this is bigger. This is bigger than that. It's huge. So this is actually going to be the size of basically a lap blanket. This would be a nice lap blanket. So I'm excited about it. So there's the colorways together. Kind of get an idea. So you can kind of see it. I think it's pretty true to the colors. I'm trying to look at the photo right now, but I think the colors are pretty true. I have to use my non-natural lighting because, like I said, it's really dark and creepy outside right now. But I'm kind of all for it sometimes. One, the grass needs it, that's for sure, and the so I guess we kind of roll this into life update end of things because I don't really have any other works in progress that I worked on. To be fair, I did do some spinning last weekend, so I did work on my Gotland fleece, spinning that up. I'm almost done with it. I have little bits and bobs that I need to either while I was spinning, they broke off. I had very little left. It got kind of compacted because there's still a little lanolin in it. I like to leave some lanolin, and it got a little compacted, so I think I want to just throw that back on the drum carder one more time and make one more skein, like fluffy bat from that, and then spin from that. And whatever is left from that, I will just give to the birds. So I'm getting there. I am getting there. I hope I have enough to make the weekender. That's what I want to make with it. And I really hope I have enough. I did a 3-ply. If I'd done a 2-ply, I for sure would have had enough. I'm just not sure if I'm going to have enough. I hope so. I really do. The good news is I have a couple other fleeces that are cream colored, but again, every fleece is different. So if I use a different fleece, it's going to for sure look different. It's one thing if you alternate your rows, then just kind of blends together and looks like it was supposed to be that way. That's kind of its own cohesiveness, but having the whole skein itself knitting from a different skein, it'll look different. So we'll see. I'm gonna, after I ply up, I have to finish this first, but once I finish that bobbin, then I'll ply it up and see what kind of yardage I have, and I hope I will have enough to make that sweater. So that's one of my other projects I want to work on. And then, life update, end of things. So I'm going to try to share on, I think I can post like photos, like a couple photos on YouTube. And my goal is to show you guys the lambs. So I got to go see baby lambs last weekend. And I was so grateful my husband took some photos because they're so stinking cute. They were so sweet. Oh my gosh. And they all have their own little personalities. And I know they're more playful because they're little and young and trying to explore their world. But they're so cute. They're about 4 weeks old and super friendly. So cute. So many different colors. Oh my gosh. It's neat to see them because most sheep, I think, are like this. But Shetlands are notoriously colorful. They come in, I think, 11 different colors. And then well over, don't quote me on this, well over like 30 different patterning, like markings. So they're a pretty amazing breed, I have to say. And from like a spinner standpoint, someone using their wool to spin yarn, there's just this palette you can create naturally without dyeing it is very expansive. So I'm super excited. I did put down reserve on 3 sheep total now. So we do have our 3 little sheepies picked out, and they're so cute. So I cannot wait to show you guys more of them as they arrive here in the coming weeks. We have at least 4 more weeks that they will be with their mothers before they're weaned, which is totally fine. That's more than okay. We did move their little sheep hut, which I will have to take photos of that. Not today since it's raining, but I will try to do that tomorrow, hopefully. It's supposed to be sunny tomorrow. It's gonna be cool but sunny. My goal is to hopefully do some weeding since it rained. I'm hoping that the soil is nice and mushy so that I can easily get the weeds out, I hope. So that's kind of my goal. So I'll try to do that. That's part of my biggest struggle, you guys. I'm gonna be honest. So I don't have a problem taking photos of like around the little homestead, as we call it. It's not a registered homestead, but I call it that because we have all these critters. Um, but it's not exactly easy to do when you're out working in the midst. So usually it's my husband and I working and doing stuff. But if it's me during the day by myself, it's just me. And I don't carry my phone with me really because I'm in the dirt and my hands are dirty and I've got my gloves on and I'm in the weeds, literally, like I'm in the weeds. So I don't kind of stop to take photos. I'm really bad about that. My sister gives me so much grief about it. So I'm going to try to be better just because I know some of you are curious and want to know, and I don't mind sharing, but I do feel bad. Please bear with me. It's not a priority for me to do that when I'm in the weeds. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that I work full time outside of doing the yard work and the critters. So when I do the yard work and the critters, I have to focus, double down, and get that done because I don't want, I have limited time to do it. So before it gets dark and things like that, and it's a lot easier to do your chores outside when it's not dark. Luckily, our days are now, because of the time change, we spring forward in Michigan, and I know many states do, but so we did a time change, daylight savings time, and now it's brighter out later, which is great. It's super helpful for getting chores done. So definitely appreciating that end of things. Recovering from the time change is another thing because I'm pretty tired. Even though I've been sleeping, it just doesn't seem to matter. It's amazing how 1 hour can really throw you off that bad. But anyway, yeah, so we got to see the sheepies. We do have 3 of them, and the coloring, I'm trying to think of the exact names of them, but maybe I'll just describe them. That might be easier. So one of them is let's see, I'll show you guys pictures, but like I mentioned, the neat part about Shetlands is as a baby, they look a certain way, and then as they get older, or actually really after their first fleece grows, it's going to change color. So it starts out one way and it's going to change color. So their first fleece, the lamb fleece, is always going to be different from their fleece as they're older, which I think is really cool. It's super unique, which also makes it probably very hard to sell a first fleece because it's quite unique, and it would create some really interesting yarn. So our first little one, who is super friendly, she's so friendly, she's so cute. Her name's Amanita, if that's right, Amanita. And they're all named after mushrooms, which is so cute. And she looks light brown. So initially she thought she was a moret, so which is like the brown, but she has a white head with little brown markings around her face, around her eyes. So she has brown there, and then she's got some markings on her face. And so she thought she was a moret, but upon further inspection, after a couple weeks now, and her fleece is starting to grow, she can actually see a lighter color coming in around her eyes, and then the lighter color when you part the fleece, it's actually a light, it looks like a light gray. So she's actually going to be a musket. Pretty sure it's a musket is the color, the actual color. So it's really pretty. It's a light gray brown. It's super unique. So I'm super excited about that. All of these colors are colors I can dye. It'll just be affected differently based on the base. So she's going to be like a warmer gray, basically, kind of. It's going to be interesting to see what she actually looks like. That's the fun part, and I love that. And then the other one is, I think I mentioned her name. I don't know if I did. So Veiled Lady, she was the first one that I actually picked out. She's really beautiful. So she's a light gray, and she actually has she's light gray, but she has almost kind of like brownish gray legs with like speckling. Really beautiful, sweet little face. And she's a little more shy and reserved than little Amanita. So we're hopeful that Amanita will help socialize the other ones. That's the other thing. The first 2 weeks with them, I'm going to kind of have to socialize with them and keep them in their little house to get them used to their area and used to me. And hopefully then they will be more friendly, you know, not as standoffish. They're wary, you know, I get that. That's part of their nature anyway. Sheep in general, they're kind of flighty, so you have to be careful to not scare them. And then the third one is actually Veiled Lady's sister. So she is actually her twin sister, and they're all twins. All of these sheep were twins. They're the first one is a twin from a different mother, and then a Veiled Lady and Chanterelle. So Chanterelle is our little one, and she's so cute. So she is a dark gray Bursiget. I think I'm saying that right. I don't know. Scottish names, you know. I think it's Bursiget. I think that's how you say it. And so she has like this random speckling on her. She's really pretty. So currently she looks almost black in areas, but she's dark gray. And then she has the speckling of what looks like a light gray kind of throughout, and her face is like really speckled with it. She's really beautiful. And so it's neat because when you part her fleece, you can see it's starting to come in more gray, which is going to be interesting to see how that looks. So she's going to be, I think, a little darker than her sister, but similar, very similar. So that's exciting. It's really exciting, and they're so sweet. They're just all so sweet. And they're so soft. Oh my gosh. Oh, I know Shetland is soft anyway, but the lamb fleece is super, super, super soft. Super soft. So I'm really excited about it. I have to figure out, we've got time for all this, of course, but just trying to think of, in the future here, trying to think of, okay, when I shear them, like when I should be doing that and everything, because is as lamb fleece. Trying to see if they will rue, like if they'll actually separate naturally. I don't know if they will. I think she had mentioned a while back, the breeder, I think she had mentioned some of her sheep will do that, but I know that is a characteristic that sometimes gets bred out of them. So I don't know if these little ones are going to have that or not, but if they don't, that's totally fine. I want to learn how to blade shear. That's kind of my goal. So that I can do that for them. So another life skill. I'm a little scared, but again, I've been told that kids can learn how to do that. So if they can do it, I can do it. It's totally fine. It'll be good. Anyway, I'd love to hear what you guys are up to. I'd love to hear what you're working on. Any new projects? I haven't cast on anything new yet. I want to. I do have other projects though that I want to finish too. But I have to say, I might cast on a new one just because I want the relaxation of knitting away. However, I think I should be motivated to bind off my Wildflower Path sweater. I did not work on it this week. I talked about it last week, that Newton keeps breaking, and so I just did not work with it because I'm trying to do the tubular bind off with it, and it's just tricky. But I really need to get that done, and maybe that'll be part of my reward, because once I bind that off, then I'll be doing basically stockinette knitting for that, and that will be very relaxing for me. So I just need to get through that little bitty hiccup of trying to sew off with Newton. It is not easy. It's not easy, my friends. All right, well, I think that's it for today. It's not a terribly long video, but I think we're at a good time. Yeah. So I hope you guys are doing well. I look forward to hearing from you, and I will chat with you again soon. Take care.